spiritual Manthan.
Have you ever woken up one day and felt like something was different? Like the world around you hasn't changed, but you have? Maybe your favorite activities don't excite you anymore, or the relationships you once relied on feel distant. It's not just a passing phase or a random mood swing. It might be something deeper, something profound. What if I told you that you're shifting timelines? Yes, you heard that right. Shifting timelines isn't just a sci-fi concept. It's a real transformative experience that happens when your consciousness aligns with a different version of your reality. It's subtle, almost like slipping into a parallel universe without any fireworks or dramatic effects. But here's the catch: it all starts inside you. In this video, we're diving into 3 hidden signs that you're experiencing a timeline shift. These aren't the obvious signs like moving to a new city or starting a new job. No, these are the quiet, almost unnoticeable shifts that ripple through your life, reshaping it from the inside out. By the end, you'll know exactly what to look for and, more importantly, how to embrace this incredible transformation. Let's dive in. Sign 1. You feel detached from things you once loved. Let's dig a little deeper into this feeling of detachment. Imagine this: you've had a favorite TV show for years. You know all the characters, all the plot twists, and it's been your go-to comfort zone after a long day. But one evening, you sit down to watch it, and something feels off. You don't laugh at the jokes like you used to. The plot feels predictable. You try to push through thinking, maybe I'm just tired, but deep down, you know it's something more. This experience, as subtle as it may seem, is a powerful indicator of a timeline shift. It's not about the show or the music or even the hobbies you once loved. It's about you. You're changing. Your vibration is shifting, and with it, the things that once resonated with you might no longer feel aligned. Why does this happen? It's because we're not static beings. Just like nature, we're always growing, evolving, and transforming. When you're experiencing a timeline shift, your consciousness begins to align with a higher frequency. Think of it as your soul's way of saying, we're moving forward. It's time to let go of what no longer serves us. But here's the tricky part: letting go isn't always easy. When we lose interest in things that once brought us joy, it can feel like losing a piece of ourselves. You might even question your identity. After all, if you're not the person who loves that TV show or that hobby, then who are you? The answer is simple, yet profound. You're becoming a new version of yourself. This process of detachment isn't about losing yourself. It's about uncovering a deeper, more authentic version of who you truly are. It's like peeling back the layers of an onion, getting closer to the core with each step. But let's not sugarcoat it. It's not all rainbows and butterflies. This phase of detachment can feel uncomfortable, even disorienting. You might feel like you're in a void, unsure of what to do with your free time or how to fill the gap left by the things you've outgrown. So, what can you do when this happens? The first step is to allow yourself to feel the discomfort without judgment. Instead of forcing yourself to enjoy something out of habit, give yourself permission to explore new possibilities. Ask yourself, what excites me now? What feels meaningful in this moment? Think of it like cleaning out your closet. When you declutter, you don't hold on to clothes that no longer fit or that you haven't worn in years. Instead, you make space for something new, something that reflects who you are today. The same principle applies to your hobbies, interests, and even relationships. And speaking of relationships, don't be surprised if this detachment extends to the people in your life. As you shift timelines, you might find that certain friendships or connections no longer feel as fulfilling as they once did. It's not that these people are bad or that you've outgrown them. It's simply that your energies are no longer aligned. This can be one of the most challenging aspects of a timeline shift. It's hard to let go of people who've been a part of your life, even if you know deep down that it's the right thing to do. But remember, Letting go doesn't mean cutting ties completely. It just means creating space for relationships that align with your current frequency. Detachment is a natural and necessary part of growth. It's a sign that you're evolving, stepping into a higher version of yourself. So, the next time you feel disinterested in something you once loved, don't see it as a loss. See it as a sign that you're ready to embrace something new, something that resonates with the person you're becoming. Above all, be patient with yourself. Growth is a journey, not a destination. And while it might feel uncomfortable at times, it's all part of the beautiful process of transformation. Sign 2. You notice changes in how you perceive reality. Let's talk about perception. Have you ever had one of those moments where you look around and everything feels different? Maybe it's the way the sunlight hits the trees, or the way people's conversations seem to stand out in sharp clarity. It's as if you've stepped into a new dimension, even though everything around you looks the same. This isn't your imagination, it's a sign of a timeline shift. When your consciousness begins to align with a new reality, your perception of the world changes. It's like upgrading the lens through which you see life. Suddenly, the mundane becomes magical, and the chaos starts to make sense in ways it never did before. Here's why this happens. Perception isn't just about what your eyes see or what your ears hear. It's about the filter your mind applies to the world around you. When you're operating on a higher frequency, that filter changes. You begin to see opportunities where you once saw obstacles, beauty where you once saw boredom, and connection where you once felt isolation. Let me give you an analogy. Imagine you're wearing a pair of tinted sunglasses. For years, you've seen the world through this tint, so you think it's just the way things are. But one day, you take off the glasses, and suddenly, everything looks brighter, clearer, and more vibrant. That's what happens during a timeline shift. The tint of your old perspective falls away, revealing a new way of seeing the world. This shift in perception also affects how you respond to situations. Let's say someone cuts you off in traffic. In the past, you might have honked your horn, shouted, or let it ruin your mood for the rest of the day. But now, you shrug it off, maybe even laugh about it. It's not that the situation has changed, it's that you've changed. Why does this happen? Because when you shift timelines, you stop reacting from a place of fear, anger, or frustration. Instead, you start responding from a place of love, acceptance, and peace. It's like switching from being a player in a chaotic game to becoming the observer who understands the rules. But let's be honest, this new perspective can feel a little strange at first. You might even question your sanity. After all, if everyone around you is still operating from the old perspective, it can feel lonely or even isolating. You might wonder, why don't they see what I see? Am I the odd one out? The answer is, no, you're not odd. You're just ahead of the curve. Think of it like climbing a mountain. The higher you go, the better the view. But not everyone is ready to make that climb, and that's okay. Your job isn't to drag others up the mountain, it's to enjoy the view and inspire others to join you when they're ready. Another fascinating aspect of this shift is how it changes your relationship with time. You might find that time feels less linear and more fluid. Hours can pass in what feels like minutes, or vice versa. This happens because, on a higher frequency, your connection to time becomes more flexible. You're no longer bound by the rigid structure of past, present, and future. Instead, you start to experience life as a series of interconnected moments, each one filled with infinite possibilities. So what can you do to embrace this new way of perceiving reality? The first step is to stay present. Pay attention to the little things, the way the wind feels on your skin, the sound of leaves rustling, or the rhythm of your own breath. These moments of mindfulness anchor you in your new timeline and help you fully experience its beauty. And remember, it's okay to feel disoriented at times. Shifting your perception is a big deal, and it takes time to adjust. But trust that this new way of seeing the world is a gift. It's a sign that you're aligning with a higher version of yourself and a higher reality. Sign 3. You experience synchronicities and random coincidences. Let's talk about those moments that make you stop in your tracks, the ones where the universe seems to be winking at you. You know what I'm talking about. Maybe you're thinking about someone and your phone buzzes with a text from them. Or you're grappling with a decision and suddenly, a quote pops up on social media that feels like it was written just for you. These are synchronicities, those seemingly random events that hold deeper meaning. And if you're noticing them more and more, it's a clear sign that you're experiencing a timeline shift. So, what are synchronicities, really? To put it simply, they're the universe's way of communicating with you. Think of them as breadcrumbs, guiding you toward your highest path. They're not coincidences, they're confirmation that you're aligning with a new reality. Let me give you an analogy. Imagine you're on a road trip, heading toward a destination you've never been to before. Along the way, you see signs pointing you in the right direction, arrows, mile markers, and even scenic overlooks that tell you you're on the right track. Synchronicities are those signs. They're reminders that even when the road feels uncertain, you're exactly where you're meant to be. But here's the catch: you have to pay attention. Synchronicities are subtle, and it's easy to dismiss them as mere coincidences if you're not tuned in. For example, let's say you're considering a career change, and you keep seeing ads or hearing conversations about the very field you're interested in. You might brush it off as random, but what if it's not? What if it's the universe nudging you in the right direction? These signs aren't just about external events, they're also about internal alignment. When you're shifting timelines, your energy shifts to match the frequency of your new reality. This alignment makes you more receptive to the universe's messages. It's like tuning a radio to the right station. Once you're on the right frequency, the music comes through loud and clear. One of the most exciting aspects of synchronicities is how they can lead to opportunities you never saw coming. Maybe you strike up a conversation with a stranger at a coffee shop, and it turns out they know someone who can help you with your goals. Or you stumble upon a book that perfectly answers the question you've been wrestling with. These aren't accidents. They're the result of your timeline shift, aligning you with the people, resources, and experiences you need. But let's not romanticize it too much. Synchronicities don't mean your journey will be free of challenges. They're not magic wands that instantly solve all your problems. Instead, they're like a compass, pointing you in the right direction. It's still up to you to take the steps and do the work. For example, imagine you're hiking through the woods, trying to find a hidden waterfall. Along the way, you see small signs, footprints on the trail, a faint sound of rushing water, or sunlight glinting off the trees. These signs tell you you're on the right path, but you still have to keep walking to reach your destination. Another important thing to remember is that synchronicities often come when you're in a state of openness and trust. If you're constantly doubting or second-guessing yourself, it's harder to notice these signs. That's why mindfulness and self-awareness are so important during a timeline shift. When you're present and grounded, you're more likely to recognize the universe's messages. So, how can you embrace synchronicities and use them to navigate your timeline shift? Here are a few tips. Pay attention to patterns. Start noticing recurring themes or symbols in your life. Maybe you keep seeing the same numbers, like 11, 11, or a specific animal that seems to appear everywhere. These patterns often carry deeper meanings, so take a moment to reflect on what they might be telling you. Trust your intuition. If something feels significant, it probably is. Your intuition is like a sixth sense, guiding you toward what resonates with your soul. Don't dismiss those gut feelings, they're there for a reason. Journal your experiences. Writing down your synchronicities can help you make sense of them. Over time, you might notice connections or patterns that weren't immediately obvious. Plus, journaling is a great way to stay grounded during a timeline shift. Take inspired actions. When a synchronicity points you in a certain direction, don't just sit back and wait for things to happen. Take action. Whether it's reaching out to someone, exploring a new opportunity, or simply being open to change, your efforts will amplify the energy of your new timeline. Practice gratitude. The more you acknowledge and appreciate synchronicities, the more they'll show up. Gratitude is a powerful way to stay aligned with the flow of the universe. By now, you've probably realized that shifting timelines isn't some grand dramatic event. It's not like stepping through a portal or waking up in an entirely new world. Instead, it's a series of subtle, profound changes that ripple through your life, reshaping it from the inside out. We've talked about the 3 hidden signs of a timeline shift: feeling detached from things you once loved, noticing changes in how you perceive reality, and experiencing synchronicities that guide your path. Each of these signs is a clue, a reminder that you're not just changing, you're evolving. But let's be real, this process isn't always easy. It can feel disorienting, even lonely at times. You might find yourself questioning everything you thought you knew about yourself and your life. And that's okay. Growth is messy. Transformation is uncomfortable. But it's also beautiful, empowering, and worth every moment of uncertainty. So, how do you navigate this journey? The key is to trust the process. Even when things feel chaotic or out of control, know that there's a deeper order guiding everything. Think of it like a storm, clearing the way for a brighter day. The turbulence is temporary, but the transformation it brings is lasting. Be patient with yourself. Shifting timelines is like planting a seed. You won't see results overnight, but with time, care, and trust, that seed will grow into something amazing. And don't forget to celebrate your progress. Every step you take, no matter how small, is a step toward your highest self. You're not just surviving, you're thriving. You're not just existing, you're creating. So, the next time you feel detached, notice a shift in your perception, or experience a synchronicity, take it as a sign. You're on the right path. You're aligning with a reality that resonates with your soul. And the best part, the journey is just beginning. As always, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Have you noticed any of these signs in your own life? What's been your experience with timeline shifts? Share your story in the comments. I'd love to connect with you. Until next time, keep shining, keep growing, and keep embracing the incredible journey of becoming your highest self. You've got this.